Welcome back to ChaiNet, the agentic commerce podcast exploring how brands are building in an AI world. 23 years in hospitality, restaurants, spas, loyalty programs across India and abroad. That was Mahipal Singh's world. And COVID hit, and his daughter got her first period during lockdown. That changed everything for him. Now, most founders start because they either see a market opportunity or they want to enter the entrepreneurship bandwagon. Mahipal started because he sat through an experience that millions of fathers would probably just avoid. He watched his daughter struggle with something that shouldn't be a struggle. And he did what most people in his position would not even think of doing. He started a period care and a fem care brand. Being a father of a tiny 1-year-old daughter, the moment I saw what he was doing, I had to get him on ChaiNet. Reva, his company, is not hiding in black poly bags. It's a fashion forward, bold, and unapologetic wellness products that treat periods as normal, not something to whisper about. Today we'll be talking to Mahipal. Mahipal, a very warm welcome to ChaiNet.
Thank you very much, Rachit. It's a pleasure to be here with you and to be able to address this audience. Thank you very much for having me.
Likewise, no, it's my pleasure, and I'm very happy to have you here today. Mahipal, if you could give a short introduction of yourself for our audience.
Sure. Hi, everyone. I'm Mahipal Singh, co-founder of Reva. Before this, I spent over 2 decades in hospitality and loyalty, where I built and a profitable bootstrapped customer engagement company. More importantly, I am a father to a young daughter, and Reva really started there, combining everything I know about customer experiences with a very personal problem at home. So that's what I am with my experience and what I bring to women largely through Reva.
Amazing. You actually you walked away from, as you said, like a 2 decades experience in hospitality to build. So there are so many things you walked away from that to build a femcare brand during COVID. That's either courage or it's insanity, right? Which one was it for you? And when did you actually get to know that, okay, this is it, I am not going back?
Very true. It was actually neither courage nor insanity. It was
Hmm.
actually empathy with conviction. During the
Right,
pandemic, when my daughter Myra got her first period, she's very sporty. She's constantly on the move. And I realized that the products available to her were not as evolved at the same pace as her life was evolving. She did
right,
not want basic products like cups or tampons, and pads were being limiting and uncomfortable for her. So that's where it took me down a rabbit hole. I spoke to over 100
right,
of her friends, spoke to another 100 of her friends and parents. And what came out as a common consensus was that women needed something that blends into their lives, not
right.
something that they constantly need to manage. And that's where I realized and I knew that this wasn't my daughter's problem. This was actually a category that was waiting to
Right.
be reimagined.
I think that's coming from you. I have a 1-year-old daughter. She's very small right now, but it's a taboo, right? Whatever said and done, like for fathers to even talk about their daughter's period. It's and you've actually built that brand. So once you figured out that, okay, this is a problem, then what happened? Like you spoke to people and you understand that, okay, a category which needs to be reimagined. This is not how it should be. Then what were your next steps? Like coming from a hospitality industry, starting a brand, help me piece the two things together.
So, right, coming from my background of hospitality and loyalty and moving into the menstrual hygiene world, it was not easy, right? It was first there were these roadblocks of a man talking about periods, right?
Exactly.
Because in our society, it is very easily conceived that it's a women's problem, and that's where the biggest
Correct.
stigma and taboo is, right? Nikki and me, both of us, did almost 1.5, 2 years of on-ground research. We spoke to hundreds of thousands of women who we actually wanted to tell us what they wanted. What do they expect from a period product, right? And that's where we realized what Reva needed to be. It was not only about building a product, it was about building a voice for today's women, right? It's exactly what women want. which they are not able to express in the larger terms because society does not let them. And that's where we've not as a brand but as a emotion, as something that every woman in the country can relate to in whatever walk of life they are.
Right. And yeah, I think that it looks, you can see that in your brand, right? You can see like you're not unapologetic about it. You're like all your social media, it's all about, it's nothing to hide. It's nothing to be, it's not a woman's problem. It's as natural as anything which can happen, right? And
True.
you should not be there's it should not be packed in. I know when I've seen when my wife buys any sanitary product, right, it's usually they wrap it up in those black bags and then they give it to her, and it's it's strange. And you will people will actually, so, like, my father's a doctor, right? So in our house also, it's very normal to talk about periods and whatever. And because it's a medical thing, my father orders all medic anything to do with with medicine or anything to do with the chemist, right? Because he's like
Right.
the liaison between us and the chemist. And then my father was once ordering sanitary products for my wife, and she had a friend over, and then it was a thing, like it was weird for the friend because he thought that, okay, yeah, like how's the father-in-law ordering something for the daughter-in-law, right?
That is what is the awkward situation in our society today,
Right,
right? It does not come naturally to men, right? Because we've been taught to stay away from this problem.
right,
And it's not a problem, it's a biological process, right? And since generations, it's been considered to be something that is of high critical stigma taboo, that it's not to be spoken in front of men of the house.
correct.
Today's day and age, the way we are seeing it. So we have twins, right? I have a boy and a girl, right?
Mm-hmm.
And very important for my daughter to know what periods are, because they've started hitting as early as an 8-year-old, right? And
Right.
that's where lifestyle changes are also impacting the way periods or menstrual hygiene is
Yes.
developing, right? It's also important that the boys of our society need to know what is important, what is periods, what is menstrual hygiene. They don't need to experience it. They need to
Right.
have that empathy and emotional connect of how they can support the women in their life. Could be their sister, could be a friend, their mother, their grandmother. And it's not only about periods, right? Largely, the way the society or this category has developed and the way we are building Reva, right? It is very simple. It is for women across all age groups.
Right.
We were building the category, when we spoke to millions of not millions, we spoke to thousands of girls across various age groups.
Right.
Younger girls were using it as training panties in schools, right?
Right.
Mothers were worried that how would they, at a 8 or 10-year-old girl, handle her underwear and pads at the same time.
Right.
So these panties that we built were tested as training panties. It gave them the comfort. We tested it with with an older millennial age group segment, right, where many of them wanted products that could take them through long commutes or late meeting. Finally, we also tested with the older women, primarily in their 40s and 50s, who were in the early stage of urine incontinence. And now all age groups have actually tested positively for a product that we've built.
Right. Yes.
And that's our customer obsession that we've done. We've constantly been speaking to women customers, women across various age groups, and we've understood that one product category can actually solve for multiple life stages. And that's what
Hmm.
Reva is all about. And that's where I think the change in society is also coming about.
Right. Right. But then, as a brand, if you're solving for different problems for different ages, then how do you position as a brand owner?
So it's not about positioning different use cases, right?
Mm-hmm.
As a brand, we are positioning ourselves as a fashion brand with functionality at the core.
Right.
And that's what is important. It's a functionally fashion forward brand, a product that women across various age groups, across various use cases can adapt to very easily. You don't need training or you don't need a manual to go through to how to use this product, right? It's very simple. It just looks like your normal underwear, right? And what we've also done with the brand is we are also India's first period activewear brand, because in our conversations with women, we realize that women actually stop living during their periods, right? They stop going to the gym, they stop their yoga, their jog, and it actually comes to a standstill. And
Right.
that's where we developed a period activewear range. It's like a normal product. It's like normal shorts, normal leggings, but with an additional layer of comfort and leak-proof protection. They
Hmm.
are seamless. Nobody from the outside can make out you're wearing a period product. And I think
Right.
that's what today women want. It's about not going through the shame that the society will look at them that, oh, this woman is on her period. It's
Hmm.
about being comfortable, is being confident of what you want to showcase and feel within. And
Right.
that's the biggest shift that we want to bring about in society today with what Reva is giving out.
That's solid. That it's not just a product. It's something much more, right? It's actually giving people the. You're trying to solve two things, I think. Apart from just functionality in the product, you're also trying to solve the stigma which is there, that okay, men can't talk about it. Talking
Absolutely.
about yeah, your backstage, we were talking about principles and how you actually build, or how do you manage your day-to-day life as a founder. And you were talking about ownership, accountability principles, that has been your personal principle, right? Can you give us some shed some light on that for the audience?
So through my previous work ex and through my journey
Mm-hmm.
as an entrepreneur, there is a principle that I have coined, and it's worked brilliantly for me. It's OAR. It's
Mm-hmm.
OARE. It's a very simple word to put it in layman's terms, and it's like a chappu, right? For
Right.
today's day and age, women, people who are working in an organization, the biggest thing that HR feels is employees are not connected with the organization. And I say it's not the organization, it's a it's a mixed effort that goes in, right? And that's
Mm-hmm.
where this philosophy I developed. It's about if the team member feels the ownership to his role, his function, his job, right? He feels accountable for his function or his task he's been assigned, and he feels the responsibility towards the delivery of that particular task, right? Automatically the empowerment will come. The quality of the output will be enhanced. He or she will start thinking like an owner,
Right.
executing like the owner. And that's what is that every entrepreneur or every business owner or a functional manager wants in their team members. And today I am so proud that in my 23 years of working, I've been able to successfully implement this through my work. And I've got living examples of people who were freshers, and today, and with my journey, they manage teams not only in a specific city but entire nationally. And that's what is
Right.
the entire play. It's about me, an entrepreneur, giving a chair to an employee, but it's the employee's responsibility to make that chair their own, right? How do
Hmm.
they command that respect is what OR is all about.
That's a very good philosophy and principle for young entrepreneurs who are now building teams, now trying to actually go from being a solopreneur to actually building a company. That's very solid advice. Thank you so much for that. And let's talk about you as a founder, right? And about the elephant in the room, I would say, because men are literally afraid to even talk about periods, menstruation, and you're building a full-blown period brand. Have there been instances where people say that you're in the wrong room and it's not your job?
It's happened more often than anyone can imagine, right?
Hmm.
Yes, it's something that is there, but the truth is I can't experience periods, and that's a fact, right? But I can understand the entire problem. Nikki and Amira have helped me understand what women feel during their periods, right?
Right.
That's where, with the empathy in me, I've been able to make a change first for them and then for every girl who experiences periods. I'm very
Hmm.
clear about that. Pretend I understand periods better than women. My job is to listen obsessively and build. We've personally spoken amongst Nikki and me to thousands of women across age groups. While I
Right.
don't experience periods myself, I understand the product deeply because women love it. We've got in our short term time in the market over 30,000 women customers who've actually adapted to Reva, right? And that's a validation that matters more than whether a man should or shouldn't be building
Right.
this, but whether
Correct.
the real problem is being solved well. That is what is required. So I may have started as the wrong person on paper, right, for a business like this, but the product is very much women designed, women validated. And I, through my experience, bring in the systems, the customer experience thought process to a
Right.
problem which every woman has been asking loudly for a change in. So
Hmm. True.
that's my overall thesis on this.
No, that's. I think yeah, that makes a lot of sense, and I'm sure it must have been very hard, especially initially when when you're conceptualizing things and you're talking to people like the first few. That's probably the hardest, right? In general, I think starting something is hard, but initially, like the first few days or the first few weeks are like people are thinking, have you gone like, are you even sane?
Absolutely.
But
And
yeah,
I've had a lot of friends call me on the side, call Nikki and said, is he fine? Because I
right,
had just exited from my previous venture. They're like, hope he's fine. Please speak to him if he has a problem. So everybody took it more from, I should be mentally fine. That where am I going? Is this
right,
even a category that a man should be heading? And
right,
actually, these instances gave me more confidence that I need to do this, right? Because
right.
I need to break that stigma. I've had conversations with men
Of
who've
course,
told me that my daughter is on the brink of getting her periods, but my wife is going to handle that. And I very blatantly told them, why is your wife going to handle that? Right? Why
correct.
aren't you? So I've had those awkward conversations. And today I'm proud that I love making men feel awkward about it, right? Because these questions we will ask them. And
Yes,
that's
of course.
that people who've had interactions with me, I've had these conversations, right? And they can relate to it. It's about being normal and having that conversation with your daughter, with women who are associated in your life, because what matters at the end of the day is not how you think. It's about your empathy and your understanding of the situation and you holding guard that
True.
I am there. You don't need to worry, because during periods or when your menstruation happens, there is havoc going on in a woman's body, right, which no man can ever fathom, right? It's about that. It's just that emotional touch that is required. They don't want anything else. I can very proudly say, and I'm sure Amira is going to kill me later, but she has the worst periods, right? And we have that dialogue where she knows I'm there, right? But I give her a space, and she knows that she can ping me
Right.
and say, Dad, I want a dark chocolate. And it's there for
Right.
her. And that's the
Right.
kind of empathy and the kind of touch that needs to be there. And that's what men need to start
Hmm.
understanding and breaking that shackle in their mind.
Amazing. Yes, you're absolutely right, and I think newer generations are adapting to it, and I think this is getting better. Um, there's one more very interesting thing, while which I also spoke about when I introduced you, that in general brands use soft colors, or they would want to whisper about their product, and you try to be as hidden as possible. You've gone in the completely opposite direction, right? Why do you think that the entire category positioning is wrong, and this is how it should be?
So the my main motto of when we started Reva, my first few thoughts around when we had not even thought of the brand name, right?
Mm-hmm.
When we were discussing of we want to get into this category, my core was it needs to be bold, right? It needs to be in the face when there is a product lying
Right.
on a shelf in a shop, right? the women or the customer should be able to point out and say, what is that? Show me what is
Right.
that product, right? It needs to shout out what its presence is, right? And that's where we wanted to build something which was not there in the existing leak-proof products that were available in the market. They were functional, yes, but they look like a compromise, right? They were dark colors, they were the same old designs, and
Right.
whereas the other categories had actually become fashion, way advanced, like the fashion. Lingerie had become like a full blown fashion category. So we
Right.
asked a simple question: why should women have to choose between a functional garment and a beautiful one? Because they are on their period, right? Why does that choice have to be made, right? So Reva is designed to look and feel like she's proud to wear better fits, colors she actually likes. We've got colors like baby pinks, we've got electric blues. Most of the categories have become fashion forward. And why should women have to choose between a functional and a beautiful garment? And it needs to be about better fits, be better colors she actually likes, giving her the 8 to 10. And because of that, she feels good about it and comfortable wearing lighter bottoms. I think there's a issue with the end. Lighter bottoms, going to the gym or traveling constantly for her, or not checking her stains. And that's
Right.
what is required. And that's where Reva is giving women the choice to choose their personality and
Right.
not compromise, right? Today, if we look at majority of the period wardrobe for any woman
Mm-hmm.
would be soil stained underwear. Why should that compromise be there, right? Because periods are the
Correct.
most important part of a woman's health. And I personally believe this, that a healthy and regular period actually is like a doctor's monthly checkup.
Has given all our viewers. I think now you're back. Absolutely. So I was talking about, I was telling how to make an impact. And for our viewers, your Reva is giving a 12% discount coupon. I'll just share that over here as well. And of course, you will get the discount coupon in comments, in all our captions. Guys, for all of you, there's a 12% discount coupon for ChaiNet listeners. It's called ChaiNet 12. You can use it on their website. The link of the website would again be in the description. Exactly.
Actually,
Exactly.
and that's where building out a bold persona is where women need to start talking and feeling confident, because I think some of the leading lingerie brands have always said if a woman feels confident on the inside, she's confident on the outside. And that's what we want to do. That why should those 5 to 7 days be any different? They need to be feeling the same, if not more powerful and stronger for
Correct.
themselves, because they're going through something that is God gifted. And that's how I put it for periods.
Correct. Yeah, I think you're true. You're true. And although I think the big brands are now starting to realize that they had to be doing this all along, and things are improving for the category as well. But yeah, but of course, being one of the boldest out there, and being one of being the first movers in terms of this, and being a fashion brand rather than a medical product, right? That's, I think, no one else is doing that yet. You still you still think that acha, let's go to the chemist and get a pad or a tampon. You'll never think of it, you're getting like period wear in a mall, right? So those things are, I think, very impactful, and that should happen. And that comes to
Absolutely.
another thing, right? Like your period wear, you say it's reusable period wear, right? These are not disposables.
Yes.
Most of the category today works on disposables. Do you think there is friction? Like there's you need a lot of customer education for that. I've seen your Instagram reels also, right? They talk a lot about how you manage your reusable period wear. And then there's, of course, some higher upfront cost. There is friction for the customers. Was there a reason behind choosing like the harder path to this rather than going through? There have been a lot of smaller, I would not say small, there have been a lot of new brands come up with similar philosophies but with disposables, right? But you chose probably the most hardest path in the to market. So what was the reason
So I'll
behind
tell
that?
you, there were primarily two reasons, right? First one is that the Indian consumer is and today's day and age is conscious and not price conscious, right? Reva product lasts for up to 2 years. Over the period, it replaces almost a few hundred pads and actually saves the customer 2 to 2.5x of what she would spend otherwise on disposables.
Right.
It's her freedom and her comfort in return by using a reusable product. Second,
Correct.
our very own survey of 150 plus women that we did across
Mm-hmm.
age groups and cities, 97% were open to trying a product that gave them the 8 to 10 hours of protection. So once you know
Right.
women, reusable doesn't need to mean more work, but it is
Right.
less mental load, right? It is about less stress. They were willing to upgrade. We're not asking anybody, women, to stop using pads on day one and just start using a period panty, but
Right.
add a reusable product into your menstrual routine because it gives them a better base and slowly default onto what they use during their menstrual journey. And that's
Mm.
is critical, and that's where we see the initial uptake that that is there, that it is a very positive sign. The generations coming up, the Gen Zs, the millennials, they are picking up, they are willing to experiment, they are
Right.
flirtatious, they are encouraging to try something new and not just go by the age old norms of how periods have been thought about.
100%. And I think there is a lot changing, and especially with the new generation, there is a lot of change is changing for the better. A lot of the plus. We've like millennials have been in between, right? We're trying to see both the worlds. We've been brought up in a very different world, and now our kids are in a very different world. Although I think that's happened for every generation in a way, but for us it's been the maximum, right? Because the change, the delta has been huge, and with that, you know, I that's what I've been thinking, and not from a femcare side, but from an AI side. That in the last 4 years, a lot has changed, and there's a lot of hype, right? When we talk about AI, Reva actually launched while the hype cycle was kind of starting out, and where people are talking about AI, and people were talking about that you can build a one-person brand using AI. You don't need anything else, right? So when you started, like in 2023, AI tools started becoming accessible, and AI influencers started earning a lot of money, spreading a lot of a lot of things that okay, you can do this, you can do that. We talk about Reva, right? How do you use AI in building the brand? Are you using it for something like product design, customer research, content creation, or do you think it's like a complete hype and you're still doing doing things manually?
So I'll tell you, with your overall hype around Reva, it's about AI. Is
Mm-hmm.
it's cool to say that I'm using AI and I'm an AI adaptive brand, right?
Right.
But at the core of the brand and the category, there is a lot of human conversations and empathy,
Right.
right? Which cannot be replaced by AI, right? AI, yes, can give us a faster turnaround on iterations of the content of maybe various variants, but when a 15-year-old girl or a 40-year-old woman needs that emotional support of what works best for her during her period or any other health concern, I think a human conversation is what matters. And that's what is at the core, right? Where whenever there is a conversation that is required, a human is always there to actually build on it and give that comfort and reassurance to our customer. Anything else
Hmm.
that a customer wants in terms of speed, AI is always there.
Right. Right. So the human touch cannot go, but yeah, the AI helps you with speed, basically.
Absolutely.
Mhm. Right. Mhm.
To what this category is all about, right? We've tried an AI where an AI person, you can make out it's an AI. It's not a human, right?
Of
And
course, yes.
that's where the difference lies, because a woman can relate to an experience of another woman. And that's
Right.
what we are trying as a brand to build and bring out as a message.
True. I think that's very important. We have a question from Kirti, and she's talking about the conservative audience, right? Like, of course, like we know, like India has three different audiences. One, you have your top brass, your top 5 to 10%, and then you have the majority, right? And they are conservative. And she's saying that period talk is still very hush hush. And how are you dealing with marketing Reva to that audience right now?
I think it's actually a preconceived notion that it is a hush hush topic. A lot of
Mm-hmm.
women today are open to talk about it. So between Nikki and me, we speak to over 100 customers every month, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I've seen women across various tiers of India, tier one, tier two, tier three cities, are
Mm-hmm.
comfortable in sharing their period journeys. It's about how they relate. It's about what kind of a difference are we creating with our product in their life.
Right.
uh, we've had experiences uh, where customers have said, I don't believe this will work, right? And
Mm.
we've had challenges with customers. If it doesn't work, I'll take it back, right? But if it works, you will replace your existing period wardrobe, right?
Right.
And these are kind of conversations, and we've had customers coming back and saying it actually has made a difference in her life, right? Where we've had women replacing or including this in their elders, in the elder
Right.
women of the house, right? About and talking about it. A nudge that was required, and with digitization, it is happening. Women have started talking about it, right?
Right.
We recently did an experiment with some regional content, right? About a woman sharing her first tragic period story.
Mm-hmm.
Totally awestruck on the kind of response that we got. There were women
Right.
sharing their stories. Some had good, some had bad, and some had the ugliest experience, right? But they were open to sharing it. And that's what is the change. I think that change is there, like you said earlier. And I think in the next couple of years, it is just going to get better. Right. And with Reva, with the kind of positioning and the product that we are offering, is just going to benefit and make it better.
True, true. One last question for today. Why I save it for today is because I hope that you come back after a few months and we have a bigger story to tell.
Absolutely.
Being a father myself, I think I would want to end with this question that most fathers don't don't even know what brand of period products their daughters use, right? And you've actually built a whole company around it. What do you want other fathers to understand about periods that you did not understand before building Deva?
So I'd like to tell all fathers out there, right? Simple. Have the conversation.
Hmm.
Your daughter will remember that you showed up and not that you said
Right.
the right words, right?
Right.
Your daughter will remember you were there for a most vulnerable moment, right? It doesn't matter if you are uncomfortable, just be there for her, right?
Right.
Because that one conversation will change everything for your relationship. It surely changed everything for me. And that's what is my urge to all fathers out there. Fathers who are already matured and who have daughters who are getting into periods, and also the fathers who are at the brink of it, right? Have that conversation, be confident, because it is just that blossom your relationship.
Yeah, that's very deep, and I will for sure follow it. I hope we have fathers in our audience who also follow it. Thank you once again, Mahipal. For all our audience, that was Mahipal Singh, founder of Reva, breaking every convention about who gets to build what. And I think for us, the learning and the takeaway is about purpose-driven brands, about how a mission is more important than margins. Something very specific happening with Reva. Mahipal is not trying to be an expert in something he's not experienced. He's not claiming to understand periods better than people who have them. But what he's doing is bringing a lens to a category that's been built the same way for decades. And what's he's learned, what he's learned: fashion forward positioning, unapologetic aesthetic, and refusal to make periods invisible. That's not category research. That you don't learn that in MBA. That's as Mahipal said, that's come from talking to people, talking to your customers. And I think that's also one of a very important learning. If Mahipal is breaking into such a different category from a theoretical, founder product fit, what our experts would want to call it, I think you can do it too. The thing important is that talk to your audience, talk to your customers, and understand what their problems are, and then solve for those. If you want to see what Reva is building, you can check them out at revaforyou.com. So it's revaforyou.com, and there's a 12% discount for our listeners. You can use the code ChaiNet12 for on checkout before the 1st of January. Next week on ChaiNet, we'll be talking to someone also who's very interesting, building in the D2C space, and we're going to talk to them about how they're building, what they're building. I'm Rachit Magin, your host, and this was ChaiNet. Thank you so much for listening. And Mahipal, thank you once more for your time.
Thank you very much, Rachit. It was indeed a pleasure being here and sharing my experience with your audience. And I'm sure the change that we want, your audience is going to give Reva that option to be a part of their period journey and build on it. Thank you very much.
I hope that too. Thank you, Mahipal. Have a wonderful rest of the day.
Thank you.
And
Thank you very
take
much.
care. Bye-bye.